As I alluded to in the last review, Saw 7's title of The Final Chapter was poorly chosen in hindsight. 7 years after the 7th Saw film, Jigsaw was released, and as my quick review attested, I was fairly satisfied but a little bit disappointed in the big twist ending. If there's one thing I've learned doing in-depth reviews though, it's that my opinion can change greatly when I analyse things. So, for possibly the final time, here's my review on Jigsaw. Jigsaw begins with a police chase. Edgar Munson is chased to a rooftop where he finds a trigger behind a red X. He asks for Detective Halloran, who arrives and orders the armed police to aim for the trigger. Edgar states it's either him or 5 people and that he wants to live, and so pulls the trigger. The police shoot him, but no one owns up to shooting him in the chest. Edgar survives though, saying the game has just started before losing consciousness. He's transported to the hospital under armed guard, where Halloran and his partner Hunt start to wonder if Jigsaw is back 10 years after his death. The trigger seemingly starts a game where 5 new participants are chained around the neck with bucket helmets on their head. They're told by Jigsaw over a speaker that they're all guilty and have to give a sacrifice of blood. They then get pulled towards a wall of circular saws, with 4 of the participants cutting themselves to escape, and the 5th waking up too late and getting pulled onto the wall of saws. In the next room, the 4 survivors, Mitch, Ryan, Carly and Anna, discover their next test. Carly must inject herself with one of 3 syringes to cure the poison in her blood. One contains acid, one contains saline, and one contains the cure. Ryan, in a panic, injects her with all 3 after they all start hanging, killing Carly. Ryan then tries to escape and in the process loses a leg, choosing to save Anna and Mitch from a silo filling with grain and very sharp objects. Mitch then falls foul of a giant spiral blender, recompense for him selling John's nephew a motorcycle with faulty brakes. Anna tries to escape next and almost manages, but is caught by a pig mask wearer. As she and Ryan wake up with their ankles chained to the wall, Anna recognizes the man holding them captive as her former neighbor and original Jigsaw killer, John. John explains how they're both here because they're responsible for multiple deaths each, and that their perspective is backwards. He loads a shotgun with 1 bullet, saying it's the key to their freedom, and leaves them with the gun in the center of the room. Anna grabs the gun and tries to shoot Ryan, but it backfires just as Ryan works out that the bullets contain the keys to their locks. Meanwhile, as the first victim, nicknamed Buckethead by Logan Nelson and Eleanor Bonneville, is examined, they discover a jigsaw piece cut from the skin and a memory card with Jigsaw's voice stating that he will take care of the 5 people who need justice and that this man is the first. They also find John's DNA under his nails, which puzzles them as he's been dead for 10 years. The second victim is found outside the hospital where Edgar is in a coma, but Edgar disappears shortly after the body is autopsied, only to be found later in John's coffin after his remains are exhumed. Halloran begins to suspect Eleanor after finding out about her internet history visiting Jigsaw fan pages, and then Logan when he sticks up for her and discovers that he knows a lot about the acid used on Carly from first-hand experience. Eleanor shows Logan her studio with recreations of Jigsaw traps, including a trap that was never found along with the participants of the game. Logan implores Eleanor to get rid of this shrine to Jigsaw as it implicates her, with Eleanor pleading her innocence, but unbeknownst to them, Hunt has followed them and taken photos. This leads to the police raiding the studio and finding a 3rd body. Eleanor goes on the run and Hunt questions Logan, who strongly suggests that Halloran is behind it all, as he discovered all 3 bodies and there have been suspicions about his temperament and behaviour in the past. Eleanor finds Logan and tells him that she's worked out where the game is, a farm owned by Jill, John's wife. The 2 go to rescue the remaining participants but are followed by Halloran. Meanwhile, Hunt searches Halloran's apartment after it's discovered that Halloran's bullet was found in Edgar's chest. Hunt finds the jigsaw pieces cut from the victims in Halloran's fridge and is convinced that now he is the copycat. Meanwhile at the farm, Eleanor and Logan are jumped by Halloran. Eleanor escapes, but both Logan and Halloran are captured and put into a trap that sees them with collars on with laser cutters moving ever closer to their head unless they confess. Logan goes first and fails to confess in time, As Halloran panics, he confesses that murderers, rapists, and other criminals went free because of him. The collar shuts down as Halloran breathes a sigh of relief, before realizing that Logan is unharmed. Logan is the one behind everything. Edgar getting shot, the evidence planted to incriminate Halloran, and the new bodies. The game with Ryan, Carly, Mitch, and Anna happened 10 years ago, and Logan was the 5th player who didn't wake up in time. John made a mistake and saved Logan before recruiting him. Edgar was Halloran's informant who killed Logan's wife because Halloran let him go. As he leaves the room, Logan reactivates Halloran's collar, slicing his head like a Terry's chocolate orange, before leaving him to die. As plots go, Jigsaw certainly isn't the worst of the lot, but there are some issues. If Logan was the first apprentice, then where was he this entire time? Presumably the others don't know about him, but is this a different police department? If not, then why didn't the previous victims, and John Kramer for that matter, not get autopsied by him? Why has it taken 10 years to get his justice on Halloran? He states he was looking for people involved in Halloran's cases, but considering he picked just 3 people in 10 years, that seems like a very small number. I feel the characters are a bit cliche too. Halloran is a dirty cop, Hunt has no character, Logan is a veteran with a past, and all the victims are really one note. Eleanor is the only one who feels like any effort went into her. There's depth, albeit a small amount, but enough to make her the most interesting character. I think Anna may be the worst person in the universe though. Killing her baby in a rage, planting the body on the bed next to her husband so he thinks he killed him, watching him get arrested, committed, and then hear of him hanging himself, and showing absolutely no remorse. It stinks of overkill. At least others showed remorse before they died. I think the plot works in context, but at the same time it feels really wedged into the lore of Saw. Funnily enough though, I think newcomers can start here, and if they like what they see, maybe they can go back and watch the rest. Just don't marathon them, I found that out the hard way. Upon the film starting, you can see, if you're a long-time fan, the step up in quality from a directorial and visual point of view. Things are crisper and cleaner. Things like the laser collars really highlight the upgrade over the years. I don't feel Jigsaw loses its identity despite this, as there are a lot of visual effects compared to the CGI, and it does feel like a Saw movie, but one that's perhaps too far away from the original franchise, as far as time is concerned anyway. If Jigsaw spins off into its own set of films, then long time, I think it'll work, but otherwise this will always be the red-headed stepchild of the series. The traps have clearly had some thought to them, and for the most part are simple and fair, just like the originals. The exceptions to this are the silo, which, with things like saw blades, knives, garden forks, and other sharp objects falling, feels too random and not at all like an engineer who calculates everything would think of. The other trap I feel doesn't belong is the lost trap or motorcycle trap. I feel this is more complicated from a technical standpoint and doesn't fit in with the others, even if visually it's very interesting. That said, the first trap involving Buckethead does have a glaring issue. He's supposed to have had half his head cut off, but the bucket helmet is still intact and locked. It's something that no one picks up on, but there's no way the Saws could do that without damaging the bucket helmet. It'd have to be put on afterwards. As a narrative, bearing in mind that we're led to believe that this is the same guy at the beginning of the film, it doesn't work, and it's about as distracting as the pink blood in Saw 7. Credit to Milnar for highlighting this to me, and you should totally check out her blog about TV and film. My biggest problem with Jigsaw is the twist. It's one I saw coming, which detracted from the first viewing. There are some questions which could be answered in a sequel, but unless a new series is started, I don't see the reason for making this film. It doesn't add anything to the story and feels a bit forced in. It's good for a Saw series movie, but kind of unnecessary overall. Well, for the moment, that is the end of the Saw series review. I will be sure to revisit it if anything else gets released, and I really hope they do. Just don't make too many again. For now though, thank you very much for watching.